Hello. I hope you and yours are safe and healthy. We had a wonderful Youth Sunday. Check it out online if you weren't there. The young folks were great in their roles, and a special shout out to Emma Peters, who spoke. The day reminded all of us that children and youth are not the church of tomorrow. They're the church of today. Emma used the theme of the fourth Sunday of Easter, Good Shepherd Sunday, as the basis of her remarks. Of course, one of the readings for this Sunday is always Psalm 23. It's such a beautiful piece of scripture. The 23rd Psalm has led us in paths of comfort all the days of our lives. I've said it at many a deathbed, and we've all recited it together at funerals. I'm sure you've heard it plenty. But sometimes we have trouble hearing the things that are closest to us. Psalm 23 was a cherished hymn for the Hebrews. So when we read and sing the Psalms as Christians, we're to some degree also in Jewish territory. It helps us to remember the nature of the Jews' history with God. They were a people called Israel, which means those who have struggled with God. They struggled for a home that they were always trying to get into, hold on to, or get back to. They struggled for peace, for food, and for a future. Most important, they struggled for their faith in God. The Hebrews longed to live with God as sheep live with a shepherd, but their life was hard, and they were too afraid to keep believing that this shepherd was leading them to green pastures, or that goodness and mercy would always follow them. So they frequently rushed down more promising paths toward more manageable gods, which always led them into unmanageable trouble and laments for the salvation of God. They would return to worship where this story was told and retold. So it's not surprising that so many of the Psalms describe the churning, disruptive experience of being lost and found, judged and forgiven, sent away and brought back. It's all a part of the experience of people who got scared and lost their way, and of the high drama of a God who searches to find his lost sheep. I don't mind calling the Lord my shepherd, but I've never been too flattered by being called one of his sheep. I'd hoped to be, maybe the eagle of the Lord, or the cunning tiger of the Lord. Sheep aren't particularly smart. They scare easily and have a knack for getting lost. Now, most of us don't look lost. Most of us haven't fallen through society's cracks into homelessness and poverty. But David would say, "Oh no, it is you who have lost your way," in a relationship that's offered more hurt than love, or in a job that leaves you depleted and spent, or in the guilt of not being good enough, pretty enough, or smart enough for somebody whose judgment cuts deep. Some of us have gotten lost in our battles against declining health. Others are lost in grief. And how many of us are just simply lost in our shame for things done and left undone? Trying so hard to find ourselves, we've even lost sight of who we are, who we were created to be. The reason both the psalmist and Jesus spent so much time describing us as lost was not to judge us, but to help us find our salvation. Confessing that we're frightened and lost is the first step. The key to discovering this salvation is seeing that thou art with me. This is how David survived the valley of the shadow of death when he was on the run from Saul. Believing God is with us is how huddled Christians continue to worship in countries where the church is persecuted. It's even how middle-class Americans survive jobs they don't like but can't afford to leave because they need them to support lifestyles they don't really like. It's a beautiful and joyful thing when we don't have to be just smart or just talented or just skilled or just articulate or just reliable or just anything. It's wonderful when we can just be, right? Safe in the protected care of God who loves us as we are and who's willing to provide all the resources that it takes for us to be the persons we were meant to be, who's willing to be all the resources we require to be whole. We have a wonderful God. What can you say to a God who revives your soul except thank you? What can we say to the one who's willing to stick so close to us that we never have to be afraid of anything, from death to hunger to evil to loneliness? We can say, thank you. We can accept this remarkable care and be thankful for it. So listen and learn and follow. That's our hope and our calling. See you soon.